See, now if you read some books, there are some good books, if you read some books about Tantra, having, not just, don't read, fringe books. Fringe books? Fringe, what do you mean, what do I mean by fringe books? Don't read Lobsang Rampas on Tantra or his, don't read fringe books. Just read more really authentic books, more, If you read them and then having explained like this, then together perhaps you have a better understanding of Tantra. Then perhaps you would like to practice Tantra. If you do so, then it's essential to have a teacher. Not that to have a teacher is not for teacher's sake, is for the student's sake. It's like to have a direction is not for the direction's sake, but for those who are taking directions should have a clear direction. You know what I mean? It's like that. It's like a direction. Teacher is a direction. And then maybe, So that's all, I think. That's sufficient. Are you okay? Of course, we're in England. Therefore, there's not very much, I'd say. But by now, you see, previously when I first came, I used to be quite, I always used to think that, because when you travel to other countries, like in America and California is also very deceptive, by the way. If you go to California, they're so, responsive and, very, they're with you, it seems like they're with you all the time. Actually, that's very deceptive, not very true. Not true. But also English and not communicating, it's also actually not true. They're actually quite involved. Actually, English are extremely passionate, you know that? Quite. Yes, there is actually. English is extremely passionate, especially spiritually. There is, by the way, special English part. And one day maybe I can talk about that. The eccentricity of the English spirituality. You see, there are certain way of thinking. It's actually quite, different cultures, different conditioning actually conditions you think in a particular way, So therefore, different cultures, there is that. That's quite true, actually. Because a lot of the time, the kinds of questions we ask and how we ask questions is how you're conditioned, isn't it? How you hear it's being asked, or what you see on television, or what you read, or what So as a result, there's a kind of a certain uniformity, peculiar to each culture, For example, French have a totally different thing. And Japan, very different. I went there, In Japan, you try to explain jokes and things. Or, because you joke, and they're always very devoted, they're always there, Oh yes, everything you say, oh yes, very true. Everything you said, it's very true. Everything you say, everybody, you get a little bit embarrassed. But that's, again, Tokyo is a little bit different. They need more in the countryside people. But there's a lot of devotion in Japan. One is surprised because Zen is not so much practice, It's only practice in small things. Majority of people are very much on devotion. Like for the Amitabha, very much devotion. And they like ceremony. More if you go to Malaysia, Singapore. They're like that. So it's very different. Holland is again different. Holland. Dutch people have a very, they're very, they're no nonsense. As you become colder, become no nonsense, Like Lille, in France, Lille is very much like Belgium, Lille. And then, like the Dutch people, if you know Dutch people, they have a very peculiar sense of humor. They're very liberal, but quite skeptical. They won't accept you easily, but once they accept you, they accept you. It's very interesting. Each different character. Germans are very different again. Germans continue. Germans can travel and Germans continue. French are occasionals. Have pangs of spirituality. With pangs of spirituality, with a certain amount of things, if emotionally has some inspiration comes. So it's different characteristics, And also I think what is important, what I want to say is that I find there is a great obstacle in our lives. There's a great obstacle, namely the conditioning. It's a great obstacle. Conditioning, and life itself is a problem. And you see, like sometimes when you have a spiritual thing, you realize that you say, I really want to do this, I really want to practice, I want to meditate, I really want to follow. There are people who come to say, I want to be your student, and I'm going to be surrender and practice. I said, okay, we will see. After a few months, it kind of withers away, Because you see, you feel at certain moments you feel very much, but then you get so many distractions and so many new influences, and you get kind of distracted and diluted. You in the heart of it, you may have some spiritual interest, but it's very difficult to keep on the path. That's one of the reasons is why Sangha, or the community of spiritual practitioners, are important as an inspiration. As one very great master put it, he says, first you have to turn your mind towards Dharma. Then Dharma must be successful in your life. Then the practice, whatever you do, should clarify confusion. And then finally confusion dawn is wisdom. So that many people's mind are turned towards the Dharma, towards spirituality, but very difficult for them to make it successful in their life. Cannot make Dharma a success in their life. I don't mean to say to make money with Dharma, I don't mean that, but I mean truly integrating, so that there's no longer any difference between working, being successful in life, and being a Dharma practitioner. Actually, there's no difference really. If you really integrate, where you can do everything. That's very difficult. And then even more so difficult is how to make the practice purify your confusions. Sometimes practice brings more confusion, and how your strength of your practice and the teaching actually is there to purify your confusion. And for this reason, we need to study, we need to receive the teachings more and more, so that you see your subconscious Dharma gossip, like the teachings, is more powerful than your ordinary gossip. Like when you're confused, even the confusion is rising, but your wisdom, which is through the teachings understanding, is more clearer. So that gives you like a reference point, a guideline, a discriminated awareness that helps you through. And that's why until that is developed, just having a practice is not enough, because when you have difficulties, you need guidelines. And then finally, you see, if you're able to, finally the most difficult thing is to make confusion into wisdom. And so these are the kind of guidelines, really. Okay? And then if you really want to follow through, or really are interested, first of all, there are regular, even though I'm not here all the time, but my teachings are here. I've taught many times, and all the teachings are being worked through by some of the older students. At least they're making an attempt. It's quite good. They're doing quite a good work, really. In fact, the meditation course and things are in a very English way, done very nicely. They're doing small retreats and things, but and they're doing regular meditation courses here. So if you're really interested, if you follow, there is a group of people who are available to, questions, and who try to help you and put you in touch with different materials and so on. Okay. Then, more so is that if you can come to a retreat. Next one will be in Germany, of course, but if you don't want to come, then, or you can't come, then the opportunity will be one here in Britain, in Easter, from the 1st of April. In fact, it's quite good to start on the 1st of April and finish on the 10th of April, 10 days. Previously we were doing it in Tenby, in Wales. We're going to do it every year there, but this year they are renovating the place. So the place may not be ready by that time. So Philip is looking for a similar environment near the sea with caravans, like Tenby. So if you can, please, any one of you know of a place like that, please let Philip know. Okay? Good place. We really want a good place, because all those, for the families, they like caravans are very good, so that families can have a complete unit of their own. Okay? That's that. So that will be an opportunity. Then I will be back here in December, 8th of December, one night. 8th of December. 8th of December, one night. One evening I'll teach. I'll teach on jet lag. How to overcome jet lag or whatever. I'll choose this. I don't think we need subject. I'll teach. Sometimes teaching doesn't need titles. Then in January, which weekend is it going to be? I think one weekend. I might do one weekend here. Okay. But then more immediately, tomorrow I'm here, tomorrow and the day after. 2 days. Tomorrow we begin at 10 o'clock. Tomorrow we begin at 10 o'clock, and I'll be finished a little bit early tomorrow, because I have to go to a conference on near death, how do you say, on death, I think, with Moody and others. There's a conference, so I have to go and give a lecture for that one tomorrow. So we begin at 10, we'll finish by about 4 or so, with a shorter break in lunch. And then Sunday we begin at 10 and we'll finish also by about 5 or so. Okay? Because that Sunday I leave for Switzerland. I go for a conference on Monday, that night, Monday, in south of Switzerland, on a conference also on death, do that. Then after that I go to Ireland on the Tuesday to do a 1-week retreat in Ireland, as many of you older students know. It's going to be basically on meditation and Dzogchen, and with emphasis on the weekend, especially on Saturday on Vajrayana. We have, by the way, a retreat land in Ireland, very beautiful place in west of Cork. Really, really nice place, near the sea, and the place is a little like Tibet also. It's a very beautiful place. So, in fact, the Irish students are quite, consistent and they're quite inspiring. We'll be working there, and so I think next weekend will be about 100 of us, over 100 people doing retreat there. About three quarters, I think, more than half is Irish, and then the rest are English. And okay, so that's all. Thank you very much.